In this lecture, the focus will be on understanding what is federalism, what are the features of federalism, and does India follow the principles of federalism. So that would be the main focus. So let's start with the definition first. What's federalism? Federalism is a principle in which a country should have multiple levels of government. It could be starting with two. There are many countries which have two levels of government. There are quite a few countries where there is the third level of government. So basically, it is a system of government in which powers are divided between central government and state government. So that's federalism. Usually it will have two levels. Like I said, there would be a central government or a national government which generally handles matters of national importance. Also, the state government or the provincial government would manage the day-to-day affairs, and both these levels of governments are independent of each other, and powers are structured in such a way that neither of them would be dependent on the other, and one level of government cannot actually take away the powers of the other. And in few countries, like I said, there is a third level of government. Like in India, we have this third level of government, which we call it as local self-government. Now, what is the contrary system of government to federal structure or federalism? The contrary one is unitary government. It is a system in which either there is only one level of government or the subunits are subordinate to the central government. The central government can pass orders to the provincial or local governments. So this is a unitary system of government. Basically, countries like Sri Lanka have a unitary structure of government. Let's now understand what are the features of a federal country. Generally, there would be more than two levels of government, and each level governs the same citizens actually, but has a different jurisdiction in legislation, in taxation, in administration. And then a constitution clearly defines the powers and authority of each of these levels. Constitutional provisions cannot be actually changed unilaterally. It actually requires the consent of multiple levels. Then we also have clearly defined revenue sources for financial independence of all these levels of government. And the main objective of federalism should be that to promote national unity and to accommodate regional diversity. Now, whichever country follows the principles of federalism, they're generally called a federal country now, or a federation. There are generally two types of federations. Holding together federation, in which the central government would be super powerful, and in comparison with the constituent units, it is too powerful, and it is the one holding from the top. So countries like India, countries like let's say Spain, Belgium, these are all holding together type of federations. And here constituent units may have unequal powers actually, and some states or regions are also given special provisions. And this is the first type of federation, which we call it as holding together federation. The other type of federation is coming together federation. Coming together federation is that type where the states have actually come together to form a federation, like that of in USA. In USA, it's not the country that forms the states; it's the states that have come together to form the country called USA. So here in coming together federation, generally all these states would have equal amount of powers being given. Like that, we can understand that every state in USA has two members sent to the Congress, which actually shows the equal sort of distribution of power between all the states, in comparison with the first one, holding together federation, where we've understood that there are states where states are given special provisions, but that does not apply in America, because it's the states who have come together to form America. So that's the basic difference. And in America, if any state want to get separated from the country, it is free to do so. But in India, it's not like that. Parliament has to pass on a bill, which generally it would not. And also in India, the constitution does not allow any secession or separation of any state from India. So that's the basic difference. Now, what actually makes India a federal country? We have five or six reasons to understand this particular topic. What makes India a federal country? It has a federal structure. It has a two-tier system in which the central government or the union government represents the Union of India, and the state governments. Here, these are the two-tier. This is the two-tier system. And we also have a third tier of federalism, which was added in the form of panchayats and municipalities in 1992 through the amendments of 73rd and 74th. Then we also have a list of subjects. We have, we have all the powers divided into three lists actually, which is union list, state list, and concurrent list of subjects. Union list of subjects generally are of national importance, like for example, army, currency, banks, external affairs or foreign affairs. All these come into union list. Only the union government can make a law on these subjects. State governments would not be able to do anything regarding this. Then we have state list of subjects. Generally, the state list of subjects are of state and local importance, and state governments are free to make laws on these subjects. Like for example, police. Police is a matter of state subject. The salaries, the dress color, the uniform color, the vehicles, everything related to police is on the state government. That's the reason there are multiple states which have different uniform color for police, and there are the vehicles are also mostly looking different. The reason is it's a subject which is bound by the state government. So state governments are free to express their interest regarding this particular thing. That's the reason we see this diversity in terms of uniform color or vehicles or certain other things. And then we have the third list of subjects called concurrent list of subjects. And generally this concurrent list of subject is where the subjects can be made as a law by both central government as well as the state governments. And wherever there is a dispute with regard to the law made by central government and state government, generally the central law will prevail. So that's how this is. And what if there is a law or there is a subject for which there is no law, and that particular subject of matter has come into our society just then? Obviously, it would not be mentioned in the constitution or in the subject or in the list of subjects, right? So these new subjects which are coming into our society, or new issues that are coming into our society, are called as residuary subjects. And generally the residuary powers would be with the central government, and central government is free to push them towards the state list or the concurrent list or into the concurrent list, but generally it would be with the central government. So these are the list of subjects. Then we have the special provisions. Many states in India enjoy special provisions like that of Jammu and Kashmir. For a long period of time, Jammu and Kashmir had article number 370, with which they had their own flag, they had their own constitution, they had their own assembly, in which the list of subjects on which the law is passed in parliament is not automatically passed, and the state assembly should pass a law, and then only it would be applicable onto the people of Jammu and Kashmir. These are some of the special provisions given to Jammu and Kashmir. Not just to Jammu and Kashmir, there are quite a few other states, like for example Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram. These are under article number 371. And the common understanding is that generally non-permanent residents cannot buy land or property in these states. That's the reason for all these special provisions, to keep their culture intact, to keep their local population happier without much migration from the other states into the states, so as to have these unwanted competition and all that, to keep them away. Also to preserve their local cultures. That's one of the other reason. Then we also have one important thing, that is ratification by the states. Generally, certain important laws which are applicable to the country are not automatically applied to the citizens of this country or onto the entire country without the states ratifying them, without at least 50% of the states. Like for example, we have 28 states, at least 14 states have to pass the same law that is passed by the parliament in their own state as legislative assemblies. So this is called ratification by the states. Then we also have judiciary, that there are multiple issues for which judiciary keeps interfering, judiciary keeps involving itself in. Like, for example, generally a new law, any law that is passed in the parliament, if there is a if there is a what do you call, bill or something like that, which is taken forward to the courts will give their review upon this. This is what is called judicial review, and judicial review is very, very, very important in a country like India, because from time to time governments keep changing and they bring laws or bills according to their party ideology, which might be good for the people, might not be good for the people. And if there is someone, and if someone like a third umpire in cricket, like that of judiciary in India, if it's reviewing the bills that are passed in parliament, it would be good for the country. So these are some of the things under this particular topic. Now let's understand this another topic called, how is federalism actually practiced in India? We do it through multiple things, like, for example, linguistic states. Our country is actually divided with linguistic reasons. Like, initially when the country was independent in 1947, and we had this issue of creation of new states based on languages. Initially, the central government was not of the opinion that it should be done, because back then the issue was based on religion. There was another country formed from India, right? Pakistan. So what government of India at that point of time thought was, if we keep creating states based on languages, these states would not have any feeling of nationalism towards the country, and they might be separated in the future. So for that reason, they had kept it a very closed affair. They've not allowed states to be created based on languages. But then Potti Srinamalu from the erstwhile Madras presidency, who sat on a hunger fast, and then he wanted to have a state created for Telugu speaking people. After his death, Andhra Pradesh was created, and then later on States Reorganization Commission was set up, and they've given a recommendation that states can be created based on languages. That's not a problem. And now look where we are. We have 28 states, with each of these states speaking or having their own language, and we've progressed together, and we progressed much ahead. We do not have anything like secession or any separation of any state from India. We are all united and we are living together. So that's how it is. This is about linguistic states. And then we have the language policy. Also, at the same time, around 1946, when the Constituent Assembly was working on the Constitution for India, there was this issue of what should be the national language of India. There were diverse opinions regarding this. One of the opinion was that Hindi should be the national language of India, but then the issue came from the southern states, who were not really familiar with Hindi. Plus, Hindi is not a language as old as languages like Tamil or Telugu. Hindi is a very recent language, let's say 600 years, 700 years, or let's say 800, 900 years to a max. But there are languages like Tamil, which is 3,000 years old. There's Telugu, which is 2,000 years old. We have Kannada, 2,000 odd years old. Like this, we have multiple languages which are as old as it can be. So people were not really okay with Hindi being the national language. So then we came up with a model in which we will have 22 official languages, which are also called scheduled languages. So right now we have a policy which is where we have all these official languages which the states are free to use for government purposes, or for candidates of any central government exam who want to appear in any of these 22 languages. They're free to do so. So this is about the language policy. Right now the central government is working on pushing Hindi in the non-Hindi speaking regions as well. But then it's a slow process. Of course, we need a language for the entire country, which should be recognized, which should be spoken freely without too many problems, to help the country keep it united. We of course need it. But then we have other challenges regarding this issue. So next, like I said, Tamil Nadu was the state where there was a lot of protest regarding this particular thing. And then we also have another issue in terms of how successful are we as a federation or a federal country. We had the center-state relations not so good. Reason, right from the first government that was formed in 1952, Congress party was at the center for most parts of the time, right from 1950s onwards till 1990. It was Congress that was dominating the central government, and in multiple states there were regional governments coming to power, and obviously it was not a good battle between both of them, and central government always wanted to dominate the states which was a non-Congress state government. So center often tried to actually weaken the state governments, to say it in a very different tone. And then this was more like undermining the spirit of actual federalism. But then by 1990s, what actually happened was the local governments, local political parties actually tried to become powerful, and then Congress became weak after Rajiv Gandhi's death. There was no leader of that stature who could have united, who could have kept the party united. There were multiple leaders who were coming out of Congress party, moving into other political parties, and Congress slowly started to come down, whereas the regional parties started to rise. This helped in the federalism concept. Reason is, when there is no single political party at the center, obviously the regional parties would require its support for the political party that is forming a government at the center. So obviously the center government or central government had to keep a good cordial relations with the states. So which actually did a lot of benefit to most of the states. So then the last topic for this lecture would be the decentralization. What is decentralization? When power is taken away from central and state governments and given to local governments, it's called decentralization. So this actually happened in 1992 through the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts. Actually, when India became independent and the constitution makers were writing the constitution for India, they wanted the local governments or the villages to have more powers, but then it was left open to the state governments to do that, and most of these state governments were not really willing to lend their powers to the state, to the local governments or self governments. It was up to the state government to have a local government or not have it. Very few states have had it, and then by 1992 it was a compulsory thing that they have to pass on their powers to the local governments, because it was a law that was passed. And the reason for this is the local people are the best ones to sort out their own problems, rather than the central government trying to create a solution for the problems of the people in villages. So this is the idea behind that. Now let's understand the features of the decentralization of 1992 through 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts. 73rd Amendment Act is mostly the features which are revolving around the village panchayats or gram panchayats. 74th Amendment is subject to the cities or the urban areas. So generally, every 5 years elections are supposed to happen. This is the first feature. Even in local governments, elections are mandatorily to be conducted every 5 years. Then we have reservation for SCs, STs, OBCs in all these elected bodies. And then 1/3 of the seats also have to be reserved for women, and also a state election commission is supposed to be present. Also, state governments are supposed to share their powers and revenue generating sources with local bodies. These are the features. And like I said, 73rd and 74th. 73rd is for gram panchayats, 74th is for municipalities or municipal corporations. In gram panchayats, rural government is known as Panchayati Raj system or Panchayat Raj. Every village has a gram panchayat, and then gram panchayats consist of ward members and a head called sarpanch, and members are actually directly elected by all the adult voters of the village. And generally, gram panchayat is the main decision making body at the village level. We also have Gram Sabha. It includes all the voters of the village. It supervises the Gram Panchayat, and annually it will meet 2 to 3 times. It will also approve the budget and performance of the Gram Panchayats. So this is about Gram Sabha. Now, if we come to urban areas, we have municipalities. Municipalities are generally set up in towns, and municipal corporations are established in the larger cities with bigger populations. And both are having or run by elected representatives. And the political head of a municipality is called the chairperson, whereas the political head of municipal corporation is the mayor. Now, one good thing that has happened because of decentralization, that is the participation of women in large numbers. We do not see large number of women even in parliament. But at the third level, we have a large number of women representatives at the sarpanch levels, at the ward member levels, in the municipal corporations, in the municipalities. We have a lot of women. So this is a good sign for a country like India, where the population is huge and a lot of women do not even come out of their homes. So women's participation helps them, connect much better with their local government. And to see the statistics, there are about 36 lakh elected representatives in panchayats and municipalities. And this is a really good sign. This 36 lakh is actually the entire population of many European countries. Now, let's look at the last topic under decentralization. That is, what are the challenges that most of these local governments are facing? Definitely, it should be something related to not having adequate resources being shared to the local government. Definitely, yes. Then elections are held regularly, enthusiastically, fine, that's all fine. But Gram Sabhas are not held regularly. That's a serious problem. And then most of the state governments have not transferred significant powers to the local governments. These are some of the challenges. And learning all these things, it's still a long way to actually realize the true self-government model in India. So that's all for this particular lecture of federalism under civics, lesson 2 of Cbse grade 10. I hope you've learned something from this lesson. Thank you.